Good morning to all of you. Last class we have seen Young's double slit experiment, expression for bandwidth. All bright and dark bands are of equal width. The width of the band we call it as bandwidth or fringe width, beta equal to lambda capital D into alpha small, where D the distance of screen from the coherent sources and small d stands for the distance between the coherent sources. And very important point, what is the nature, shape of the bands that is obtained? This was objective type question. It is hyperbola. And if the distance is far greater than beta, distance of the screen is far greater than beta, then it looks like straight line motion. So generally it is hyperbola, the shape fringes. If d is far greater than beta, then it appears just like straight lines. So main focus should be on hyperbola. Okay. Yes. Now what all things will happen to the bandwidth in the following arrangements? First one, suppose your screen is moved away from the coherent sources. What will happen to the bandwidth? This can be 1 mark question. What happened to the bandwidth if the screen distance is moving, the screen is moving away from the coherent source? And D increases, which means that beta also increases. Second point, the source slit is moved closer to the double slits. Next one, a monochromatic source is replaced by another monochromatic source of shorter wavelength. Second one, we are using another monochromatic wavelength of shorter wavelength. Lambda what happens? Lambda decreases, therefore bandwidth also. And third one, if the distance between the coherent sources increased, what will happen? Third one, that is D is increased, coherent sources distance between the coherent sources increased. And what will happen to the bandwidth? Bandwidth will decrease. So these are the different cases where we do certain operation in Young's double slit experiment. Instead of using monochromatic light, suppose we are using white light, what will happen? Monochromatic source is replaced by white light. Then on the screen we get a colored bands. Center one will be bright and followed by colored bands. And the colored bands means all the colors will be there. So all the colors starting from and beta is directly proportional to the wavelength. The lambda for red is greater than lambda for white. So bandwidth for red will be greater than bandwidth for white. So if monochromatic source is replaced by white light, then center one will be max. That means white color itself followed by colored bands of unequal width. And red color, the bandwidth is greater than the violet color. This is also a very important point in this case. Next point we are going to discuss about diffraction of light. Next point is the diffraction of light. So interference is the phenomenon that is exhibited by both transverse as well as longitudinal wave. You can find out interference of light. You can find interference of sound. Maximum intensity and minimum. Diffraction. What is the meaning of diffraction? It is also a property of both transverse and longitudinal wave. Light waves exhibit diffraction, sound wave also will exhibit diffraction, but is transverse as well as for longitudinal. The next point is diffraction of light. Diffraction of light. To understand diffraction of light, we take two cases. First one, An obstacle is here in front of the source of light. It is an obstacle. Any object is opaque medium, just like you are standing in front of the light. If I am standing here, my shadow will be coming on the screen. So an obstacle is here, and here you are having a screen. A screen is present. And second case, a source of light and an opening is there, of course, slits. A small opening, we call it as a slits or aperture. And screen is placed. So when the obstacle is in front of you, when light is coming here, the light can cast a shadow on the screen. This much region there is geometrical shadow, and here intensity of light will be. Here also intensity of light will be. Intensity is here, intensity is here. But this much region there will be no light, geometrical shadow will be. So this object will cast its shadow here. Geometrical shadow means there will be. It's a common experience. Okay, you can see some shadows here on my board. And here it is a slit. The slit is in front of the light, right? Here travels like this. And this much region you are getting intensity, and on the top and bottom you got on. This is the general case. But if the size of the obstacle AB, the size of the obstacle I am marking as small a, and this is the slit AB, the size is very, very small. The size is very, very small, and it is of the order of wavelength of light used. Then we find some intensity of light in the geometrical shadow region. Some intensity of light is available in the geometrical shadow region. Here some intensity will be available, and in this case some intensity will be available at the top and bottom. Why this is? This is because of diffraction of light. So what is happening here? Under this condition, light bends around the corners. Around the corners of obstacle or aperture, and those two where the geometrical shadow region. This phenomenon is known as diffraction of light. The diffraction of light you can recognize as, and this is prominent, observed when the size of the obstacle or size of the slit is of the order of wavelength of light. So diffraction of light is the phenomenon of bending of light around the corners of an obstacle or an aperture. Aperture means a slit. Okay? In the path of light. So it is a bending of light around the corners of an obstacle or aperture in the path of light. Because of this bending, light penetrates into geometrical shadow of the obstacle or aperture. Geometrical shadow. So thus light deviates from its linear path. So this bending of light around the corners of the obstacle or aperture, we call it as diffraction, and hence it goes to the geometrical shadow. This is prominent when the size of the obstacle is the order of wavelength of light used, and it is a phenomenon for all types of. So we are not discussing with the obstacle, we are discussing with the slits. So we'll discuss different cases of the slits and how the bending is taking place. The main condition is the size of the slits should be of the order of wavelength. Suppose I am taking three cases of the slits. Mainly we discuss is it was a bigger slit, and here I am taking little more smaller one. Here I am taking again little more small. So three slits we are taking. Here A is taken as 5 lambda. Here A is equal to 3 lambda. A means the width of the slit, and here it is A is equal to lambda. Equivalent of light used. And if we consider a plane wavefront, when a plane wavefront is reaching here, the plane wavefront, AB the switch, AB the switch. A plane wavelength reaches here. These are the corresponding rates. When it reaches here, it bends around the corner. This is the corner. It bends like this. And advances. So we are getting as a wavefront like this. Bending. Corner may bend over. And when here the sleeping cycling, release cycling wavefront is here, so we are getting again the rays here, and the bending will be even more maximum here. It will be more prominent, you can see, when the phase wavelengths. So when the size of the slit is on the order wavelength, the bending is more prominent, diffraction is more prominent. So this is the diffraction. And diffraction is common to all types of waves, whether it is a sound wave, whether it is a radio wave, light wave, etc. But for radio, sound wave and radio wave, it is readily observed in daily life, whereas for light, diffraction is not readily observed in daily life. Why? Because the reason is that sound wave and radio wave, their wavelength is very high. That means 2 meter, 3 meter, 4 meter, etc. Because the frequency comparatively less. So therefore, daily life objects have 1 meter, 2 meter, etc. You can see that. So the diffraction of sound wave is very common, and also for radio waves. Radio waves we are using for communication purpose. But in the case of light, daily life situation where diffraction is not common, because for undergoing diffraction, the size of the obstacle or aperture should be very, very small and should be of the order of wavelength. Wavelength of light is 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer approximately visible light. It is very small. That is 10 to the power of -6 meter or 10 to the power of -7 meter on the size of the object. It is very, very small. So daily life it is very difficult to recognize. But in a laboratory, we can have an arrangement, very small slit or very small object. So diffraction of light can be observed, not in a daily life. That point is to be maintained. And how will you demonstrate diffraction in the laboratory? Diffraction can be demonstrated as an experiment or 2 razor blades. There is an activity also in your activity book. Manual activity. So how can you demonstrate diffraction? Diffraction means to take 2 razor blades, keep that just like this, and if you have an incandescent bulb, you can just observe through this, leaving a small gap. So in between your 2 razor blade, there is a fine gap, slit is produced, and from there light will be coming. If this order of wavelength of light very small slit, you can find out some pattern. Pattern means just like a dark and bright regions can be obtained. This can be recognized, distinguished. This is the way how you recognize and demonstrate diffraction in the laboratory. Next important point is there you are well aware of Young's double slit experiment. And this was a more question. In Young's double slit experiment, one source is there which produces monochromatic sources. From that we are deriving S1 and S2 over monochromatic sources, S1 and S2 coherent sources. On the screen, we get interference pattern which consists of central maximum and followed by what alternate north and right of equal intensity. What we are going to do, we close one, S1 is closed, if one coherent source is blocked, and the second coherent source's width size is reduced to the wavelength. What will happen on the screen? What will happen on the screen? Will there be interference pattern or what pattern you will see? So if one source is closed, then it becomes a single slit and the size is with the order of wavelength. Then diffraction occurs, it bends around the corners, and after that they superpose on the way and we get a pattern on the screen that we call it as a diffraction. So diffraction pattern on the screen will consist of almost similar one. As center one we get a maximum intensity followed by bright bands of decreasing intensity on either side. So diagram will draw on the way. So the pattern we change to diffraction pattern, and diffraction pattern center will be having maximum density followed by dark and bright bands of decreasing intensity. So all bright bands are not equal intensity in the diffraction. So this kind of pattern will be observed. Okay, this is the diffraction. The diffraction pattern. Why the diffraction pattern is formed means we have a wavelet that is passing through the slit. Wavelets are traveling according to Huygens principle from the different parts of the unblocked portion of the wavefront, and they will go in all directions. They superpose each other and produces diffraction pattern. Superposition is the same, crest and crest, maximum crest and crest. So we are going to discuss now diffraction at a single slit. So we are taking a single slit, but the diffraction, just like Young's double slit experiment, to have interference, we have two coherent sources, two slits are there. And diffraction at a single slit. Diffraction lines, single slit. Single slit experiment. Only one slit is diffraction of light on a single slit. So this is your slit AB of width AB equal to A, that is nearly equal to mu. You have a wavefront, plane wavefront is coming. Plane wavefront. When it is reaching here, these are the rays corresponding. O is the center of the slit. According to Huygens principle, this much portion and ऊपर यहाँ से नीचे wavefront is blocked, on this much wavefront is allowed to move. Different wavelets will travel from this part which is unblocked and they will go in different directions. Any angle they can go. One set of wavelets will go straight and they will go to the center of the screen. Center of screen, you can take a seat. And some other set of wavelets will go particular angle, say angle theta. Any angle can be. They will be going to a point P on screen. So wavelets are going in different directions. Some are theta 0, some are 1 degree, some are 2 degree. They are going in different directions. And they are going to the screen. And these are the parallel rays they are supposed to meet at infinity. So we are getting wavefront here plane, here also the wavefront is plane. So according to Fresnel, he explained why the pattern is observed. So from the wavefront which is not blocked by the slit, this much portion, the wavelets are traveling in all possible directions. On the way, they superpose each other. Constructively produces bright region, destructively produces dark region on the screen. So this is the diffraction of light on a single slit. So we want to get, this is the experimental arrangement in laboratory. How can you arrange this in a laboratory? Laboratory arrangement. That means screen should be there, you can see on the screen. And usually you get a plane wavefront. Usually plane wavefront we get when the source of light is very far. But laboratory, you can get a plane wavefront if you place a monochromatic source, point source at the focus of a convex lens. The next diagram that I am going to do is laboratory arrangement. To focus the pattern on the screen. To get a plane wavefront, you take a monochromatic source of light. S, keep a convex lens. The source is at the focus. L1, when source is at the focus, light is coming from here, after refraction becomes parallel. So we get a plane wavefront. This is the practical way of producing plane wavefront. Take a monochromatic source. S. It is kept at the focus of a lens, convex lens. After refraction, there is no need of taking a source at infinite distance. Plus, laboratory table में and arrange it. So we are getting a plane wave. So when the plane wave is coming, this much portion is available. Then your secondary waves are going all directions. So keep a screen at finite distance. Let it be at the capital distance from the state space, like in the number space. One set of rays they are going straight and keep another convex lens and go larger focal length very close to the slit. So when the set of rays are coming here parallel, after refraction to this lens and they converge to a point on the screen. So here we get maximum intensity. Another set of rays at an angle theta. They are going like this and then we will reach the point on the screen. So the things are in the finite distance. Is a point at a distance x. So this arrangement it looks very similar to that of Young's double slit experiment. So it is finite. L2 is kept very close so that distance of screen measured from the slit or the lens L2 almost intentional. So we are getting into a diffraction pattern on the screen. So wavelets coming from the different parts of the same wavefront, they superpose constructively giving a maximum and destructively get minimum. So what is the pattern on the screen? On the screen, center wave we get maximum right maximum, followed by dark and bright bands of decreasing intensity. So this is the kind of pattern we get. Center we are getting maximum bright and followed by dark and bright bands of decreasing intensity on either side of the central maximum. So this is the diffraction pattern. Next we are to explain why three things are there. Central maximum, then after that dark region, then bright region. So why we get central maximum here bright? Because you can see that the wavelets coming from any of these portions, they reaches at the center point without any path difference. So all construct interfere and we get central maximum. So little more point clearly that I am saying here, drawing a separate diagram for this explanation for central maximum. So we get central bright region, and after that we get minimum dark bands. Then we get bright band. Dark band usually call it as a minimum, and this is called secondary minimum. Secondary, which is a primary. Primary important goes for central bright. Except central bright band, all others we call it as secondary. So dark band in diffraction we call it as secondary minimum. Bright bands in diffraction we call it as secondary maximum. First, second, third, etc. So except the center one, all are secondary, the diffraction. A word secondary will be used. So to explain central maximum, just see separately I am taking the switch here. This is your switch AB. The center of the switch is O and this is the center of the screen. So what I am going to say here, OA portion and OB portion. So the slit is divided into two equal parts. O is the mid portion. One wavelet from the mid of the OA reaches here, and one wavelet from the mid of OB also. You can see that they are traveling the same distance. Path difference zero, constructively interfere. अगर थोड़ा सा इसके बीच का एक पॉइंट ले लो बराबर इसके बीच का एक पॉइंट है तो you can take from here and बराबर यहाँ से एक पॉइंट they also travel the same distance with the point C without any problem. So constructively like this, any point corresponding to the upper portion, there is a point the lower portion OB from there we will see and reach the point C without any path produces. Constructing all will interfere, we get a central bright band, which is very primary focus. That is the central bright band focus. Next we go for minimum. Condition for where will be minimum on the screen, where will be maximum on the screen, except central bright band. For that we have to calculate path reference. I think you remember path reference in the Young's double slit experiment. We have calculated path reference. If the screen is there, okay, coherent sources are there, then the point P is at a distance x from the sender, then path reference between the waves in going, coherent waves in going to the point P on the screen is x into small d divided by capital D. Yes, that we are derived. Similarly, one wavelet from A, another wavelet from B, they are going to reach the point P on the screen. What is the path reference between them? To calculate that, we take the first diagram. First diagram we are taking, calculating path. Depending upon the path reference, we will see the maximum. So we are going to the diffraction of light on a single switch. So several right hand completed. Now dark band, which is called minimum, secondary minimum. First we find out what is the path reference. Is a simple point. One wavelet from A, another wavelet from B is going to the point from screen. To find out path reference, what you are saying, perpendicular from A to the line B to going to the point P. B and A is perpendicular. A is perpendicular to the line from P. So if you measure this much distance, the point from here to here also, that is on the same. Only the extra distance traveled is from B to N. Only this is the extra distance traveled by the wavelet from B. So path difference in this experiment is Bn. So this much gap is A, and this angle is theta, this angle is also equal to B. So look at the triangle ABN. Triangle ABN, sin theta is equal to Bn divided by AB. So Bn is equal to AB sin theta. AB means the width of A sin theta. So this is your Bn. So path difference in the single cell experiment is A sin theta. This is very important. So what is the path reference in the single slit experiment A sin theta? So one wavelet from A, another wavelet from B going and reaching to the point P, and the path reference is A sin theta. The point P on the screen will be bright or dark, that depends upon the path reference A sin theta. Just like in the case of Young's double slit experiment, the path reference is n lambda, n equals 0, 1, 2, 3, that point on the screen will be bright. If the path reference is 2n minus 1, lambda by 2, then you see that that point will be dark. So path reference here A sin theta. Now, if A sin theta, path reference is n lambda or 2n minus 1 lambda, but etc. We'll see on the way what are the conditions. Path difference between the wavelets going from A and B reaching the point P on the screen is A sin theta. That is a very important equation in diffraction single slit experiment. Now I am going to take a special case, conditions for minima, dark band condition. So first case, if we are taking path difference is equal to, if path difference between the wavelets from A and B reaching the point P is lambda, I am taking a special case, not general case, special case we take, then after that general. If the path difference between the wavelets going from A and B reaching the point P is lambda, then what will be happening to the point P? Whether it will be dark or bright. So this is your steps. A and B का बीच में path difference lambda. O is the center. So slit is divided into two equal parts. One wavelet is going from A, another is going from B. बीच में है lambda. So O is the center point. One wavelet is going from O and one is starting from A. के बीच में path difference होगा lambda by 2. And इसका बीच में path difference होगा lambda by 2. So when the two wavelets from A and O reaching the point B with the path reference lambda by 2, which corresponds to a phase difference y, as per the equation. So crest and trough comes there, destructively interfere, so you get minimum there. So other points will continue.